We are live, guys. तो अभी हम लाइव आ गए हैं। और आज के इस लाइव में हम एक्चुअली कंटेंट क्रिएशन करने वाले हैं, जो कि मैं लिंक्डइन पे पोस्ट करता हूँ। ओके, तो कंटेंट क्रिएशन मतलब अभी आपको मुझे स्क्रीन दिखाने होगा। आपको मेरी क्या बोल रहा हूँ मैं, आपको मेरी स्क्रीन तो दिख रही होगी ना एट द टॉप। तो ये मैंने खोला है कैनवा, और कैनवा पे मैं करता हूँ एडिटिंग। तो मैं यहाँ पे एडिटिंग कर रहा हूँ कैरोजल्स की। ये कैरोल्स मैं अभी डालने वाला हूँ लिंक्डइन पे, और मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि इंस्टाग्राम का पेज खोल के इंस्टाग्राम पे भी डाल दूँ। लेकिन पता नहीं क्या सीन चल रहा है इंस्टाग्राम का। इंस्टाग्राम यूज़र नेम ये दे रहा है, गलत दे रहा है। देखते हैं, वो भी देखते हैं। पहले इसको ख़त्म कर लेते हैं। मैं थोड़ा बहुत इस पर वर्क किया, फिर सोचा यार लाइव जाके ही करते हैं। ओके, सो फर्स्ट पेज कंप्लीट, सेकंड कंप्लीट, थर्ड कंप्लीट, फोर्थ कंप्लीट। ओके, सिक्स्थ पेज। Sixth page. Three-way comparison. That is slide 5. Okay, first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Okay, fifth page we are going to do. तो फिफ्थ पेज हम करने वाले हैं पैराडिम टू डिक्लेरेटिव, द व्हाट। उसके बाद ये सिक्स्थ है इम्पेरेटिव वर्सेस डिक्लेरेटिव। हाँ, imperative versus declarative versus escape hatch. Choosing the right mental model updates the React. Imperative versus declarative versus escape hatch. Choosing the right mental model for updates in React. अरे मुझे ये नहीं चाहिए बुलेट। हाँ, तो पहले इम्पेरेटिव, मैन्युअली फोर्सिंग डायरेक्ट म्यूटेशन ऑन डॉम एलिमेंट्स, हाईली एरर prone and hard to scale. This is vanilla JavaScript way. Then we have declarative, letting conditional state changes dictate exactly what displays on screen automatically. And last one is the escape hatch. Using userif to perform rare synchronous imperative actions like manually focusing an input. Okay, so imperative, declarative, and escape. Oh shit, escape hatch. Imperative, declarative, and escape hatch. Choosing the right mental model for updates in React. Next is the developer's takeaway. UI is function of state. Never bypass React's render cycle to modify a UI element directly. Trust your state variables to drive the layout change cleanly. And predictable debugging. Because declarative views depend strictly on state snapshots, tracking down a UI bug simply means finding where the state went wrong. UI is a function state, predictable debugging. Okay, So developers take what is developers takeaway? UI is a function of state. Never bypass the React's render cycle to modify a UI element directly. Trust your state variables to drive the layout changes cleanly. Predictable debugging. Because declarative views depend strictly on state snapshots, tracking down a UI bug simply means finding where the state went wrong. Right. This is understandable. Okay, so last slide is common. Yeah, but now. Okay, so first slide is complete that I'm going to post today by 6. And I think there is already 5:36, so I should post this right now. Okay. So mastering declarative React. It is not just about writing shorter code. So should I delete it? I can hide it, right? I can hide it. If I can hide, that will be better, but I can also undo after publishing. You can just delete it. Okay, so now what our first slide says: mastering declarative React. It is not just about writing shorter code. Learn how shifting from imperative commands to declarative state design fundamentally changes how React predicts, manages, and optimizes your user interfaces. Learn how shifting from interactive commands to declarative state design fundamentally changes how React predicts, manage, and optimize your user interfaces. Then our second slide, what is declarative programming? It is programming paradigm where you describe the desired target state of your UI rather than writing the steps to get there. It acts as a blueprint with two unique rules. First rule is you program the what, completely ignoring the manual browser update process. React takes full ownership of mutating the DOM to match your declared state, right? So this is understandable. We just have to declare what, and React will handle rest. So that is declarative programming. So paradigm 1 is imperative. That is the vanilla JavaScript. So it is the how, and declarative is what, right? Okay, so it is the vanilla JavaScript way. Here you manually target elements listen for events, and force mutation directly onto the live DOM nodes. Okay, so in imperative programming, we take the elements directly, like we target the elements, then we add events for it, we listen the events to it, and when the event occurs, we directly manipulate the DOM. That is the imperative model of imperative programming model. That is the vanilla JavaScript way. That in vanilla JavaScript, as you know, we have to get the button, text, whatever. In the example below, we have to get it by using ID class or any other attributes, and then we have to create an event which will trigger something that will help us to modify the DOM. Okay, so that is the vanilla JavaScript way. Paradigm 1 imperative, then paradigm 2 is declarative, the what. So I should the how and the what, I should make it yellow. ओके गाइस, तो एक काम आ गया है, मैं थोड़ी देर में आता हूँ, 5 मिनट में आऊँगा, 5 मिनट में. Yeah, so I'm back guys. So where are we? Okay, so paradigm 2, right? Declarative, the what? The native React way. It is the React way. So you define your destination coordinates using single state. Okay, so we define state, and according to the state, we conditionally render what we want to render. Okay, so when a state shifts, React automatically calculates the difference and updates the user interface seamlessly underneath. Okay, so here's the code example. We have declared some use state, and if the use state we have declared the use state as boolean, and if the use state, the state variable, is true, then we are going to hide it, and if it is not true, then we are going to show it. So that is the way. Okay, button is visible and hello world visible and so okay, so button text, we are in that. Okay, yeah, so very nice example. And yeah, so in JavaScript, in vanilla JavaScript, what we do in vanilla JavaScript, we take the element, we add event for it, and according to the event, we modify the thing that we want to modify directly into the DOM. But that is the imperative programming, right? That is the imperative programming. But in declarative programming, what we do is we define a state, According to the state, we modify the elements directly, and we do not directly modify using the DOM. The DOM automatically get modified by using React handles that, so that is why it is called declarative, because we have to just define what and React will handle rest. But in vanilla JavaScript we have to define how. Then what is our next slide is imperative versus declarative versus escape hatch. So escape hatch is something that I didn't knew earlier, but now I'm able to, like, I know it now. So choosing the right element, choosing the right mental model for updates in React. Right mental model is always declarative, but sometimes you have to use the escape hatch, where we are going to use the use ref, and in that we handle some DOM elements, like focusing on the input, like that. Okay, so whatever user if we use, so for that we use escape hatch. But imperative, I think we don't directly manipulate DOM. I don't see anything like that before, but in worst case I think sometimes we have to, but that is not the ideal case and that is not the case. Okay, so choosing the right mental model for updates in React. So imperative, what imperative do we have defined here also. So manually forcing direct mutation on DOM elements. Imperative means what? Imperative directly manipulates mutations on DOM elements. क्या करता है imperative? क्या करता है? डायरेक्टली DOM element को मॉडिफाई करता है. That means imperative directly modify mutations to DOM elements. Manually forcing direct mutation to DOM elements, highly error prone because we are defining it manually, that's why it is error prone. Then we have declarative. So what declarative do is letting conditional state changes dictate exactly what displays on screen automatically. So what we learn in declarative is in declarative we define states, and according to the state changes we conditionally render our elements, we conditionally render our components. So what is declarative? Declarative letting conditional state changes dictate exactly what displays on the screen automatically. So we have to just define what, and React will handle rest. And last one, that is the important thing, is escape hatch. So using useref to perform rare synchronous imperative actions like manually focusing on input. So for that we use the escape hatch. So escape hatch we use useref, and for declarative we use usestate in short. Okay, so the developers takeaway. What is the developers takeaway? UI is a function of state. Okay, so in React, UI is a function of state. So never bypass React's render cycle to modify UI element directly. We have to modify the element in the render cycle only. That is when the state updates or changes. So trust your state variables to drive the layout change cleanly. Second is predictable debugging. So because declarative views depend strictly on state snapshots, tracking down a UI bug simply means finding where the state went wrong. Okay, so predictable debugging means what? We have some predictions, we have some advantage that we can predict why it is not visible. Okay, so if we conditionally render something, and if it is not, even if the condition is true, it is not displaying, then we have already there like why it is not displaying. Some, it should be some state error, some state is not changing, or some state is not toggling, that's why it is not displaying. So that is what we have added here, is predictable debugging. Declarative syntax help us to predict to debug predictably. Okay, so the end of the thread. Really appreciate you making this fast. Saved it, dropped a like, means a lot. Follow for more awesome content. Till next time, code safe. I can make long form content for this also. That is the great idea. Okay, so we have created our PDF for LinkedIn and we are going to post it by 6 p.m. Only 10 minutes remaining. Yeah, so I have to focus on state. I don't want PNG right now. I want only PDF. So to download, I want PDF because PDF standard. Yeah, that is okay. Because LinkedIn does not have any option to push carousels, but we can bypass the option by simply posting a PDF which acts like carousel. So LinkedIn basically displays the PDF as carousel, so that's why I'm exporting it as carousel and I'm going to post it on LinkedIn. Downloads. No, I have to create a folder, right? I will create a separate folder for it. It is very important as I had taken challenge to create 365 days of content. That's why volume D 365 days of code. 365 days of code. Here imperative versus declarative. Okay. So I have to find some communities on React.js. Groups. Join. Join. So this group has more followers, so I will post in this. Mastering declarative React 365 days of code. Everything is okay. So we'll add the document title as imperative versus declarative. or I would just copy from here. Period was a declarative. Oh, I can't schedule post here. Are you micromanaging your web applications, or you let me show you? No, I can show. Okay, are you micromanaging your web applications, or you letting your framework do its job? When jumping from vanilla JavaScript to React, the biggest hurdle isn't learning the syntax. Day one of 365 days of code. So day one of 365 days of code. Are you micromanaging your web applications web job? Why should show it here? Welcome to okay, I have posted out check. Okay guys, so I have posted my carousel on LinkedIn. Now I want to post it on Instagram, yeah, but I don't know why Instagram is not letting me to create a new account. ओके ये मैंने पोस्ट भी कर दिया। अभी इसमें शेड्यूल का कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है क्या? ओके सो इफ आई वांट टू पोस्ट हियर देन आई कांट शेड्यूल माय पोस्ट। LinkedIn is not allowing me to schedule post in the groups. No, LinkedIn currently does not allow scheduling posts directly inside LinkedIn groups. Okay. Okay, I can't